Really hammer New England. We're expecting possibly up to a foot of snow in Cape Cod from this one.
But has something actually changed this year that's making so much more snow than we've seen in the past and making it last longer?
Well, it's definitely been one of the snowiest winters we've ever seen, and some people might say the coldest, but it actually was not the coldest winter when you start to rank it. We've actually seen temperatures, when you look at the average, to about 34th coldest on record. But in terms of the snowiest winters, this is a big question I've been getting because it just seems like nonstop. There are a couple cities that have seen the snowiest winter ever, Detroit being one of them with 78 inches, and Indianapolis also saw the coldest as the snowiest winter as well. Now, New York, even though we saw our share of storms here, this was not the snowiest. It was number 3 in the rankings. So, yeah, it has definitely been a terrible winter in terms of a lot of snow and a lot of cold. And as you can see from the storm hitting New England today, it's not over yet.
And, Bonnie, looking ahead, I mean, we're not out of the woods yet because we're supposed to get El Nino this summer, too. So we're looking at more disruption as well across the globe for this summer.
That's right, Scarlett. You know, one of the big things we're watching right now is the spring flood forecast. And unfortunately, for many places in the country, this is going to be a problem because of all the cold and snow we've had this winter. And what I mean is, if you look at where in the Great Lakes region, for example, it was a record cold, record snowy winter. So all that snow has to melt. Right. And that's why when we're looking ahead to the flood outlook for spring, with the snow melt, we could possibly see flooding in some of those rivers where you get ice jams. So it is going to be the risk for flooding in the northern tier of the country and in the southeast as well.
It's incredible, Mike McKee. This thing just keeps going. Our economics editor, put some dollars and cents to this thing, because a lot of companies are blaming bad weather.
Yeah, about 85% more in the current quarter are blaming weather for poor results than the same period a year ago. But it's to be expected because a lot of people have been impacted by the weather. Now, what you really have is a change in the mix of spending. It looks like people are still spending, but we're spending a lot more on services, which include utilities, because our gas prices have gone way up and heating oil prices in New England you don't want to know about. So that's where the money is going at the moment, and we're spending less on durable goods and things like cars. But if we get a warm summer, that should switch around, and the hope is you recapture a lot of the spending that was lost on the big ticket items.
Well, Michael, as the chief economic correspondent, we've got a lot of economic data today. Do you put an asterisk next to it because of the weather?
Well, certainly on the housing data, the new home sales, if they come in poorly, everybody's going to say, well, it's because you couldn't go out and shop for a house. So you look past that, and what we'll want to see is later on in the quarter whether we start to see a rebound.
Bonnie Schneider, I want to go back to the floods. I was surprised how rare the floods are in the greater Mississippi Valley. The idea of 1993, 1951, 1927. Are you suggesting this could be a big year like that?
It's possible, Tom. It really depends on where those ice jams take place. It wasn't that long ago we were talking about serious flooding in the Mississippi River, and flooding is, believe it or not, one of the biggest threats in terms of natural disasters. It's kind of a silent killer. It's not like a tornado coming in or a hurricane, and it's very problematic, and it's a huge, can cause huge economic loss.
How far down does the ice go? Do you know, Bonnie? I don't mean to pin you on this if you don't know the answer, but...
No, that's fine.
In a year like this, I mean, New Orleans doesn't get ice, I understand. Does St. Louis see ice?
Yes, I mean, we definitely could see ice, but remember what happens with the spring thaw, it's considered a rapid snow melt. So when that ice melts, it melts quickly, and as soon as it does, we start to see a rush of water flowing in some of these really large rivers. And even as far north as Minnesota, once we start getting those warmer temperatures, that snow will melt, and that's when we're concerned about flooding. You saw earlier that the flood concerns for minor to moderate is actually in the northern tier of the country. I hope it doesn't turn into a situation like we've seen in previous years, but the risk is there.